is gospel music still lucrative? Because there has been a debate out there about, how gospel musicians finance themselves. How do they make money? Some are arguing that, people should pay for gospel concerts. Do you charge for your performances? Do you charge for a fee for anything you do, or you do it for free? Then why do you sing? Is it because it's spiritual inspiration, or because it is a career? Because the lines are getting blurry between the career of making money from your talent and also the calling. So what do you have to say concerning this?
Transport money. Don't assume that the musician actually have a transport money to transport himself back home. So try as much as possible and package something for it. But if it is God that said don't charge, then it's actually your own dealing between you and God. But how would you also feel you're actually organizing an event, inviting people to be part of your event, and then they go back without you even saying, how do you manage to actually get to this place?
Do you think sometimes...
Can I come in here? Yes. The Bible also says, do not muzzle the ox that treads the ground.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think the problem people have is with the word payment.
Yeah.
We pay for the gospel, the preaching that we listen to in church. It is called tithe and offering. And we've never been to church and they tell us we forgive you for the tithe and offering for this Sunday. In fact, in some denominations like the Pentecostal, it is mandatory. And in some Orthodox churches, when you die, they ask you to bring your family to bring the tithe card before they bury you. That happens. So, but because, we use the word, I think the problem people have is with the choice of word, payment. And then, but it's basically the same thing when you look at it. We've never been to church and they tell us, we forgive you for the offering and the tithes for this Sunday. It's always collected, and in some churches twice, 3 times, especially end of year Thanksgiving. In some denominations, the youth, the women, you will find yourself coming out 10 times for different things. What is that for? But because the gospel artists say pay, I agree with Luka. Yes, there are some people that the dealings of God in their lives is different. But reality, for example, I don't charge. If you call me to come minister or sing in your church, I will not charge. But I'll tell you, please remember, it takes money to run this ministry. That's where we're still on. So you will remember to bless. I won't even call it honorarium. Bless us. From the blessing, we pay our transportation, we go to rehearse, we do all of that. With my band, I always give transport money. It costs us money to rehearse, to prepare and come and bless you. So I have a business by the side.
Definitely.
So that keeps me going. So if you call me to your church and you bless me, fine. If you don't, I'm not going to hold you to it. I'll just go away, because I know that there's another avenue through which God blesses me, and I live on it.
All right.
So just to round up on that, I think the way ministry in the Christian, sorry, excuse me, I'm having cold. The way ministry is being structured is different from the way businesses actually are being structured, or the way secular world structure the way they actually operate. So on most occasions we find ourselves struggling to see how we can, I don't want to use the word copy, but how we can get the same kind of result that the secular people are getting. So it now becomes a problem for us actually in church, because on most occasions you're dealing with God as a gospel person. Now, once if you say you're doing gospel, first is you have an encounter with God before you are actually permitted to do gospel.
Okay.
So if you don't have an encounter with him, you have no business in the first place doing gospel. So your encounter with him will determine what you're going to be doing in your ministry. I think on most occasions, most people don't have the encounter. So we want to copy when Auntie Dorcas says she doesn't charge, then I will also say I will not charge. But maybe my dealings with God is saying, see, you have to charge. But because I don't really have a dealing with him, I would want to copy what she's actually doing. And I think in Christian faith, yeah, we look up to mentors, we look up to spiritual parents, but I don't think if there is this thing like copying 100% from people. I can want to emulate what you're doing, but then there is a way God will want me to structure my own life. So I think it's very important for us to actually also make that point.
Well, that's great because, yes, I said we were having conversations earlier, and some people argue that contemporary Christian music has deteriorated in some way into entertainment, perhaps because of these pressures that we're talking and we're seeing here concerning payments and all of that. Like, the gospel is now devoid of the music. The gospel music is now devoid of the message.
Okay.
You know, so this is why you were saying that it has to be a calling or something similar to that.
First,
So is gospel music good and positive music, or it must embody the message, the good news, the message of Christ in it before it's gospel music, Mr. Luka?
Okay, when you say good and
positive and encouraging message, is it gospel music?
Positive, gospel is actually good news. Good news is actually positive. Good news is actually a message that you're actually preaching out. So I want to understand the words carefully so that I can actually be able to answer. So gospel for me is you actually preaching the salvation of Jesus Christ
Through music.
Through music. Now, meaning I could see something that is going on which is wrong and I can attend to it as a gospel musician. For example, Jesus Christ, when he was with his disciples, they met him and said, these people are hungry. He didn't just preach the word and leave. Instead, he provided meal for them to actually eat. So if I discover that there are ills in the society as a gospel musician, it is just mandatory and right for me to actually tackle those ills through music. So it is actually allowed. I think what determines a music being gospel or not, for me, I don't look at the content of the music.
Okay.
I look at the person that is actually doing the music more. Because if today a Dr. Panampasi Paul will do a music about love, we can't say it's a secular music. Over the years, he has actually proven himself to us as actually a father in the gospel music scene.
Sure.
Now, if tomorrow an R. Kelly do a church song, we can't say it's a gospel song. Over the years, he has actually been a secular musician. So for me, the music is being determined by the person that is actually handling the music at that particular time.
Okay, what's your take on this?
Yeah,
Bentu?
yes. Like Luka said, the person. And then I'll add that the spirit also behind
The person.
the music and the person. You know, I wouldn't say positive and happy or good lyrics don't necessarily make a gospel music. He used R. Kelly. The storm is over now. I can see the social good music.
Encouraging, positive.
Good.
But also the person has a questionable character, as we've seen in the media. We are the world, we are the children, we are the ones to make a better
Plays.
places. So let's start giving. Very positive. In fact, some of the lyrics, as God has shown us by turning stone to bread, but that was wrongly, but good. But what's the spirit behind some of the artists who performed that? So for me, yes, the person and then the spirit as well. And may I also add that there's still entertainment in music.
Definitely.
Whether we like it or not.
Yeah.
There's still entertainment in music.
So
yes, in the music, yes, you it's a music that not only enriches your spirit or your soul, but
It's
even
a
your
pleasure.
physically is pleasurable, it's danceable.
So for
And,
gospel artists, may I add that there's an extra, I don't want to use the word burden, but there's an extra responsibility to not only carry yourself well, but maybe even embody the message. Because like you said, if an R. Kelly can sing a gospel song and you wouldn't take it, but someone who's been consistent in that line, so that means your life literally
it has to
Definitely.
reflect.
has to
Definitely.
be a calling.
Yeah.
So just having a lovely voice and singing, Christian or gospel songs while you live a contrary life
Yeah.
is completely a no-no.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yesterday, I
yes.
was watching videos of I think it's a drag queen who is also a gospel artist somewhere in the US, and I'm like, how contrasting is this? You know.
Now, so that is it. Like I said earlier, secular and gospel, there is actually a sharp difference between the two. In secular, you are allowed to do what you want to do. You are allowed to go to places you want to go. In the gospel sphere, you have a book, you have a manual, you have a guide that is telling you
right, yeah.
you have to live up to this particular standard for you.
Gospel music is not the gospel, it's not the art that reflects society, because it's not supposed to be of the world.
Society is
art.
okay. You see, art is gospel music is a burden of knowledge and art. I mean, yeah, a gospel musician's music and art. So the society can be part of gospel music. You understand? So a gospel musician can put up an art. You understand? That will reflect the society. But he is doing it with a message that have an intention to the society. He will not just wake up and just want to sing anything that just come to his head. I can bet you, if you interview most of the gospel musicians, there are a lot of songs that comes to their head, but they cannot have the release to even want to record those particular kind of songs, because they will not actually be a solution to the society. So we can I'm trying to get the right word. A gospel musician can solve an ill in the society. Let me use that word. He can solve an ill in the society with his art. But what makes him a gospel musician is actually him, the person, and then adding to what Aunt said, the spirit behind that particular person.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so Dorcas Bentu, did you achieve or get to the heights you wanted to get to in this genre of music that you chose, and would you encourage other people to toe the same path if they have the passion for it?
I'll encourage every gospel artist.
She
every
said no,
artist.
we not agree.
Says no.
Even if you said no, we not agree.
Okay. Yeah, I'll encourage anyone that is called of God, not just you get up one day and you just feel like singing and you jump into gospel music. You have to be called, of course, and then of course you have to have the fundamentals, a good voice.
Yeah.
I mean, God cannot call you without giving you the instrument. That's your voice. You have to have the gift
First.
and then you develop it.
Did you get to the heights you wanted to get to?
I still have
still
not
a work in
reached, but
process?
I'm a work in progress.
In progress,
Yes.
a work in
Work in
progress.
progress. Nationally, yes. Internationally, yes. But there's still a lot of there's still a long way to go. So
What are
I
some
think
of the challenges that you
and
face?
Auntie Dorcas is trying to be humble with this. She has actually reached that height. we have actually seen her globally. So I don't know which other heights she actually wants to get to, because
you want to preach the gospel all around the world.
yeah,
It's
okay,
probably my
maybe.
music has reached because of the marketing strategy that my marketing company, is working with. So obviously people in Australia have friends in Australia that have gone on the internet and been able to download my music and watch the videos and all of that. So but I haven't gone around all the world.
You haven't reached the heights that you
Physically,
want to.
yes. I want to go to every continent, every country if possible.
So what are some of the challenges you encountered as a gospel artist?
First of all, right from the beginning, I came up in music at a time that gospel ministers generally, whether you were singing or preaching, were not popular because there was this belief that a woman should sit quietly in the church and at home and learn from husband or senior brother or whatever it is. Or learn from your pastor. So women were supposed to keep quiet at that time, and here we were standing before thousands of people and ministering. I remember particularly the first time Reinhard Bonnke, evangelist Reinhard Bonnke, came to Jos, brought by the late Archbishop Benson Idahosa. Then Dr. Panam and myself were the only artists, gospel artists that were invited to minister alongside the great evangelist Reinhard Bonnke. And while Dr. Panam was accepted and it was all of that, I did very well my bit, But then later, why didn't you cover your hair? You should have tied it. You should have. And I knew that it was like they stopped short of telling me, who are you, a woman, standing and sitting next to Bishop Benson Idahosa and Reinhard Bonnke, at the polo ground and polo field, So those were some of the challenges, especially when we go to the northern part of Nigeria. It wasn't a popular thing to see a woman standing with a microphone and singing. So those were some of the things that some of the challenges. And then, of course, a gospel artist being remunerated, for his or her ministration wasn't popular at that time. So most times you go out to minister and they tell you, God bless you, we'll be praying for you, and so on and so forth. I remember I and my band went to minister in Yola, and the moment we got there, we had traveled all the way, from Jos to Yola, and we were expecting food, and only for us to be told that, they were fasting for the program. So there was no food, and we stayed. But in those days, I had this habit of taking some money, traveling with some money. I just took the whole of my team and we went to a restaurant and ate and came back. And I remember the minister then just prayed for us and just sent us back to Jos. No honorarium, nothing, but like I said,
no
because
prayers
I was
sent to your account.
yes.
As the
prayers got turned to
no prayers sent.
But like I said, I always had that. I was working, and to some large extent, that was why I kept my job. Yes, because you go to minister, you may be appreciated.
Well, perhaps you're one of the lucky ones who have other things on the side doing.
Yeah.
So, were you singing professionally?
I was singing professionally, and if I had to follow, if I were to follow the prophecies that came from different people, the Lord is saying, leave your job and concentrate on music, God, blah, 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 but I refused, I heard it from, it entered here and came out here.
Wow.
And, so I just, not deliberately, but I think I was wise in keeping my job. It didn't interfere with my ministry, so I didn't think I needed to leave my job.
All right. So, Mr. J.D. Luka, Joint Gospel Arts and Music Jogama Awards has been running for up to 13 years on the plateau now. What would you say? Would you say, with those who argue out there that the golden age of gospel music has passed, do we still see gospel artists having national, international touring and recording careers?
Yeah.
And how is Jogama helping in that aspect?
There are actually quite a number of gospel artists that are having both national and an international tour. Jogama now, from Jos, we've now expanded to cover the 19 northern states. So we are in the 19 northern states, and we're trusting God in no distant time we'll cover the whole federation. We want to take it bit by bit, so we don't bite more than we can actually chew. Now, about touring, we've seen quite a number of gospel artists that are doing that, both locally and internationally. Even right now as we speak, there are quite a number of artists within the northern zone that are already talking to us, trying to see how they can actually tour just the north. So it is something that is actually that is happening, and because we created a platform for them to come and crossbreed every year, they have a source of, okay, if we talk to these people, they can actually connect us to 1, 2, 3 people. So the age have not passed. The best of gospel music is yet to be seen. So anybody that says that the era have actually passed, I think the person is not really looking at things critically. Maybe he's living in denial actually, because from the era of the anti-Dorcas to now, you could tell how the level of acceptance of gospel musicians, the evolution, that's actually the word. The growth is mind-blowing. Churches now, some churches now, before you go, they want to know how much they will pay you. In fact, a gospel musician was telling me that he was invited to a church to minister, and they asked him how much. He now said, just like we're being trained as Christians to be modest, so we find it very difficult to actually put price tag on ourselves.
Yes.
So from that angle, the person just tell the pastor, no, I don't really charge. The pastor said, you're not serious. So to tell you that it has actually evolved from just praying for you, not even giving you food. I hope they give you accommodation, not giving you food to somebody.
Anyway, those days, there were very few churches who would put you in hotels.
Yeah.
Usually, the sisters, you go with this sister, with this family, and then the brothers, you go with this family and stay with them.
But right now, it's difficult for you to actually travel out of your place for a gospel ministration, and then they take you to somebody's house.
Yeah.
They always book a hotel for you. So anybody that said that the era have passed, just like what you said, the person is actually living in denial.